Okay. So I think we are here. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we're talking of the protected spring. Like I said, the general information is similar to that of an open duct well. So we start with the first question, which says, is the collection or spring catchment absent or faulty? So this one now is actually talking of because normally for a spring, for you to have a protected spring, it means there should be they have actually built a catchment around. That's to protect the spring from predators, from prey animals, protect it from even children coming to play around and people carry the water to drink and all the like. So is this spring actually having a catchment? Have they built a catchment around to protect the water beneath? So if there's a catchment, then it's a no. But if there's actually a catchment and it is faulty, that means you can actually have cracks whereby it means runoff can still and find themselves inside that water. You can even have rainwater falling and circulating inside the spring, though there's a catchment. It means you definitely tick yes. Question 2 says, is the mansary or backfill area protected? Is the mansary or backfill area protecting the spring faulty or eroded? So this one now is actually talking about the should I say the blocks, the walls of this spring that has been built. Is it actually good? Did they build it well? Is it cracked? Is it faulty? Or is it eroded? If yes, if yes, then your answer will be yes. If no, then your answer will be no. If there is a spring catchment, is there an unsanitary inspection cover? So you have several types of spring catchment. Like for instance, the one that is in my 16 is built without any cover. So everything is just covered at once. You don't have any cover. But you can have a case where you have a catchment and they have actually made a lid to cover the catchment. So is that particular catchment, that cover, is it good? Is it clean? Is it having any holes? So if it's a no, then you tick no to show that it is good, it is in good sanitary state. If yes, then you tick yes to show that it is poor. Maybe the cover is cracked, it's small, it's not even able to cover the entire catchment and all the like. 4, does the spring catchment contain contaminating silt or animal? Contaminating silt now, it talks of the fact that, for instance, if that spring is located in an area where you have silty material, it means the rate of contamination is high. Is that spring located in an area where maybe, for instance, you have trees around and then maybe there are birds and all the like? If that's the case, it means there's high tendency for that spring to be contaminated. 5 says, is there an air vent in the mansary, that's a protecting stone, and is it unsanitary? Some catchment are built with air vents. So if, for instance, the catchment is built with an air vent, is that air vent, is it kept in good hygienic conditions? Is it clean? Is it washed? Do they always try to take care of it? If no, then you tick yes. If your answer is no, then you tick yes, showing that it is not good, it is not kept well properly. 6 says, is there an overflow pipe? Is it unsanitary? So the overflow pipe now here definitely talks of where the water is being allowed to pass so that people can get. So this overflow pipe now, is it unsanitary? Like, is it clean? Do they usually carry out clean up campaigns to make sure that the area is clean? When they're even carrying out the clean up campaigns, do they also make sure that they clean the pipe? If it's too old, do they change the pipes? So if that's not the case, then it's a yes. But if that's the case, then it's a no, to show that it is properly kept. Is the fence around the spring inadequate? So like the open duct where we're talking of fence, It means for a protected spring too, you are supposed to have a fence. This fence will definitely prevent animals from coming, prevent children from coming and playing around. So if there's no fence or it's inadequate, then you tick yes to show that it is not properly kept. If actually a fence which is adequate, then you tick no to show that the fence is in good shape. It says, can animals have access to within 10 meters of the spring? If yes, you tick yes. If no, no. Is the drainage above the spring accessible or working properly? Like the case of the open duct well, we can also see here, if actually there's no drainage, it means water can runners can still find themselves in the spring. So if that's the case, then you tick yes. Then, are there any other sources of contamination of the spring, like the case of the latrine we talk about maybe it is a refuge area where they dump dead. You can even talk about a pig fence. All those, if they are actually found uphill, it means they can easily be washed down the spring. So we carry out the observation, we count the number of yes we feel. So if it's very high, if it's from 9 to 10, very high, same goes for this one. And you also give your observation. So please, the next slide. Okay, so this is the diagram. This is an example of a protected spring. If you see, this one has a fence, it is well fenced. It means even children cannot get inside, animals cannot get inside. You will see the various labels here. Like for instance, 10 talks about maybe the presence of a latrine uphill, which can actually be washed by runoffs down to the spring. You have the fence which is being built. Like 2 talks about any fault. You see that normally there's a crack here, and once you see a crack in the concrete, it means water runoffs can percolate inside and contaminate the water. Those, okay. So our next inspection now is on surface water, that's rivers or stream. So we can also carry out inspections. We can also carry sanitary inspection on rivers or stream. Like for instance, when you have the case where they should talk about cholera outbreak, maybe children might be playing in the stream and some drink the water, and so people have cholera not knowing where it's coming from. So it's also necessary, if there's something like that, then it means inspectors will definitely carry out inspection on surface water to know the actual cause of any pandemic. So the general information is same. We'll just move directly to the questions. Is the stream found within a populated community of 1,000 plus? Normally, humans, the more humans we have, the more the rate of contamination. Like environmentalists will say, they'll even advise that population, they'll talk about the fact that overpopulation is also a crime on the environment. It's a fault. People are not supposed to be overpopulated in an area. So like environmentalists will say, this form clearly tells us that if a community is above 1,000, it means the rate of contamination is high. So you tick yes. Do animals defecate or bath in the stream? For instance, you have streams where people pass with their dogs, people are even bathing, but their animals also passing, they don't care. And can also be a possibility of the stream being contaminated. Are the inhabitants there using the stream as their latrine? That's a high possibility. If a stream is being used for defecation, then there's high level of contamination. That's even the most case where you have, one of the cases where you see a stream causing cholera. You have 4. Does other runoff water from the neighborhood enter the stream? Here we talk now of the fact that maybe the stream is located in a position where runoffs are being channeled to the stream? So if that's the case, then you tick yes. 5 says, is there a protecting fence guiding the stream from runoff? Normally, if actually you can, if they notice that runoffs are getting to the stream and the people want to actually protect the stream, they can actually build an embankment to prevent this runoff from getting into the stream. But if that's not the case, then if you tick yes to show that there is possibility of this runoff contaminating the stream. 6 says, are there industries found around and deposit are there industries found around and deposit their waste into the stream? Most at times, huge industries they channel their waste tanks to nearby streams for disposal. And if that's the case of that community, then it means that stream, there's high rate of that stream being contaminated. 7 says, is there garbage dumped beside or inside the stream? Some people normally use stream as their depositing, should I say depositing can, or most people, especially in local communities where people are not um, sensitized about the problems that can be caused as if you deposit your waste, your trash in the nearby stream. 8 says, do animals have access to the stream? If yes, you tick yes. 9, is the drainage above the stream absent or not working properly? So is there any drainage that prevents runoff from getting into this stream? Is the drainage working or is it blocked? Does water still leave the drainage and enter the nearby stream? If that's the case, you tick yes. 10 says, are there any other sources of contamination uphill of the stream? For instance, you have latrine, domestic waste, agricultural chemical. This is an example of the spring where we're talking about the fact that you have domestic waste like maybe a pig fence, latrine, agricultural chemicals. So all inorganic chemicals from a nearby agricultural farmland can be washed in the stream, and that can also cause high rate of contamination. Okay, sir, I'm done with this. Hello, sir. Hello.
Can you see? I mute my mic. Can you see this household pipe water?
Not
Yes,
really.
sir.
Uh,
Mr. Tochiko, can you see? The
I
form
can
should,
just, yeah, the form is, that's all I can see.
yeah, that's the form. Yeah, so
Okay.
this is the last form, and then we have discussions on the different cases.
Okay, so to carry out sanitary inspection on household pipe water, we have the various questions. 1, is the tap outside the house? Is the tap outside the house? In bracket, in the yard. If the tap is actually outside, if they get water from outside, as far as it's outside, it means there is means of contamination. It can even be inside and maybe children play around and contaminate the tap, and once you get water from there, it is contaminated. Then 2 say, is the water stored in a container inside the house? If it's stored in a container inside the house, you tick yes. If not, you tick no. 3 say, is the storage tank or any of the taps leaking or damaged? So this storage tank now can be the case where you have maybe a storage container where you get water, you store water inside, and this storage container, most at times we see like a case of you have forages where you have a tank where they store water. So that trying to tell us here that is this tank leaking, is it damaged somewhere? If yes, then it means there's a possibility of this water inside being contaminated. 4 says, are any tap shared with other household? So is this tap in this household, is it shared with other people? The more the population, the more the risk of this water being contaminated. Is 5 say is the area around the tank or tap dirty? If it's dirty, then it's yes. If not, no. 6 says, are there any leaks in the household pipes? If there are leaks, as far as there are leaks, it means there's definitely a possibility of this water being contaminated. 7 says, do animals have access to the area around the pipe? If yes, you tick yes. If no, no. 8, have users reported pipe breaks in the last week? If they have actually reported pipe breaks, like there's a break in the pipe in the last week, then you tick yes. If not, no. 9, has there been a disruption in the water supply in the last 10 days? If there's a disruption, yeah, normally we talk of a fact that, for instance, if you are storing water in a tank and the water supply actually stops, water supply stops for a period of time, the small water that is found within the tank will might definitely be contaminated before they get in new water. So if that is the case, you tick yes. If not, no. 10 says, does the household water come from more than one source? If it's coming from more than one source, say tap, spring, you tick yes. If not, no. And from there, we're able to get our scores and fill our risk scores and fill according to the number of observations we see concerning the questions. Then
Okay. Mhm.
B says, does the distribution system deliver water directly to the storage tank? Usually on a roof. Does the distribution system deliver water directly to a storage tank? So for this one, I'm sure my boss will explain more about it. So that's all for the form. Thank you.
Okay, that's a good one there from Gina. She's actually kind of smart. I can say so because this form is actually difficult. When we last carried out our training last year in Cameroon, and a lot of people had difficulties. Participants could not understand the form. Those from the University of Boya, and they were like confused. Its terminologies, and the practice is very efficient because, like I said, sanitary inspection, it's a way to uh, assess drinking water quality in the area where you cannot have laboratories. So you can easily use it as a substitute in the first-hand information, like in the local communities where you don't have laboratories. You can actually tell from this assessment, and you have your risk analysis, which we call risk of contamination. And from this, you can probably write a report to the Ministry of Public Health in your community, or your country, in your region, in your area where you came from, and you can report this research that you took, And most important point I want to make is that these forms are standardized forms, which was built by WHO and edited by Ecolab research team. Some points and some other points were very difficult, to understand. So we did some work on it. And so this form is pretty much part from WHO and part from some editing work that was done by Ecolab research team. So now it's clear for you guys to understand the essence why we talk about these different water sources and how we could do the risks of contamination. It is left on to you guys for you to understand that this is the level of professionalism we want you people to have, and in your community to take charge in the water atmosphere, in the water system, because it is not about complaining about the government or some kind of people, but it starts from you, which you are the water and environmental activists into your community. So this is a first-hand information and first-hand workshop, which is a training that even if you go somewhere in US, in Canada, you have this particular training from doing your exercises then I think there is no field work in the water expedition or maybe water field work that if you're doing in the context, like I explained earlier, in public health sector, in NGO sector, you'll be top in the field because you know first-hand information, you know how to gather information, you know how to analyze. This is what they are looking for. So when you have such training, it is for you to put it in practice because this is what NGOs are looking for. Everybody's looking for this kind of people who can actually do this job. And today we are giving such training for free. We believe that it is about educating people and sharing knowledge. So right now, I'm just going to go straight on the discussion, which you're going to be taking part in. And before that, we have this other form, which is, I think, water sampling form. And this is about details in the future, which we're going to be collecting water samples, but I thought about it. And for in this particular form, it's just simple. You use this particular printout, it's a label, and you put on your water sample. So we have sample location, the location and sample description, and ID number, which is sample ID, like you know. And we have also date and time, and then name initial for the person, the project name, which is depends on the project. It can be Ecolab Water project or maybe your project, depends. And the test to be performed, which might be either physical, chemical, or microbiological analysis, which you want to perform the test on. So in the laboratory. So this is just about it. And Ecolab will be conducting training for this and some internship for students in future when it comes to laboratory testing of water and some other kind of environmental analysis. So for now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we are going to discuss. And one remark I want to make is for the aspect of water sample taking. Now, for these forms, which have every form has water sample taking under the general information system, information part 1, we have D, water sample taking. You can write like she already said, household pipe water. And you can also write like particularly you can write hyphens or you can put in brackets. You can just mention the particular kind of test you can do, maybe physical, you know, microbiological or chemical in bracket in this space. And you can still abbreviate it. And why in your sample ID, you might have the general sample ID, which we've given you the format already. We have given you that format. So I'm going to stop now and then we can talk some important things. Okay, so part of what we're doing. So we are going to be discussing on the aspect of community, and from your aspect, was the form really helpful for you guys to understand the context about water in our communities? So everybody could talk now, I think, if important. If you have a question, you can talk. If you have a suggestion, you can bring up and we talk. And tomorrow we are going to be having a very serious working session because this is more about what you did in the field and some other kind of brainstorming questions, which are going to gather some information and give you, like, you are a particular activist in the community, you went to carry out some samples or you went to do some inspections, you discovered this. What is the situation? How can you handle this community? Should in case, you know, those kind of questions, this is what we are going to be answering tomorrow. And like questions and answers and talking about it, discuss. So it's going to be more about talking, and just one single page slide, which is having the questions of brainstorming. And you share your experience about how you did your assessment in your various community. That's what the meeting tomorrow will be on. And that'll be all for the session, like workshop. So now, questions and other discussions. Was the form helpful? And what can you say? I'm gonna ask.
So can I talk?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I think really the form is very detailed, and Madam Regina, she really did well to explain and carefully identify the details we need because when looking at the form, you will not even get an insight of most of the details. So she really broke everything down, and it's really comprehensive. And the form is really good. And I think even though I've been part of ECOLA for a very long time, I still learned, added some new things to my own knowledge as well. So this is really very good course at the end of the day. And thank you, Madam Regina and Mr. Ekole as well. Thanks.
Okay. Can I get some what you guys can say? Mhm. I think Madam Celestina, can you say something? She's I think Mr. Desmond, Mr. Fred, Mr. I think.
I can hear you. I think I'm clear.
Yeah. I can get it. So what can you say about the training and the form?